Guess it would help if I turn my microphone on. Yeah. Alright. Oop. CPU heat sinks out of the shot here. Some track pads. Alright. On the bench tonight, got an 11-inch MacBook Air from 2015. And the problem is, it has no Wi-Fi. And I don't mean Wi-Fi as in it's not finding networks. When I go to click Wi-Fi, it says Wi-Fi, no hardware installed. What? No hardware installed. What are you talking about? See that? For once in your life, focus. No hardware installed. That's a bad thing. We need to have Wi-Fi in this day and age. So we're going to troubleshoot that. Obviously the computer turns on, everything works. We just need to figure out why there is no Wi-Fi. So we're going to go ahead and turn this computer off. Alright, it's off. I'm going to go ahead and pull the bottom off. It is missing a few screws. We're going to check to see why there's no Wi-Fi and see if we can fix it. Get the bottom off. Huh, I wonder why the magnetic aspect of my screwdriver is not working. Alright, that seems to be better. Oh, we didn't miss a screw. Okay, let's take the screw, the bottom off. Unplug the battery. And as we can see, one of the connectors on the Wi-Fi is missing. So that's definitely an issue, but it's still, there is in fact a Wi-Fi card installed. So at the very least it should see the Wi-Fi card. And there is one antenna hooked up, so it should still get a Wi-Fi signal. But it's not. So we unplug the battery. The first thing we're going to do is try a new card, because that is the simplest thing to do. We're going to start with the simple things first. So we're going to go ahead and take the card out. Now the model of this Wi-Fi card is a 6530020. So we're going to try it. Another Wi-Fi card. So we have a couple. So we'll go ahead and try another. We'll try another Wi-Fi card. Okay, plug it in. Plug our battery in. We'll just gently set the bottom cover on so we can turn the machine back over and turn it back on and see what happens. Well, probably don't need my keyboard on my lap anymore. There's a chime. Oh, it's very weak. Just wait for this to turn on. if I can tilt the screen back so you can at least see the Apple logo. Wait for it to load. Alright. Log back in. Alright. Still says, unfortunately, we're still showing Wi-Fi : no hardware installed. Focus if I get closer. There you go. No hardware installed. Alright, so let's turn it off again. So it's clearly a board issue now. I mean, it could be the antenna in the... Well, no, it will not be the antenna in the screen, because if the antenna wasn't working, it wouldn't matter, because I have ran these computers without the antennas plugged into the Wi-Fi card at all. And it will still pick up my Wi-Fi networks inside my shop, so it'll still see the Wi-Fi router even with no antenna plugged in. With this particular board is not seeing any hardware whatsoever, which means there's probably a board problem. So we will unplug the battery. Go ahead and remove the antenna. We're going to remove the logic board. First thing we'll do is take out the SSD. We'll set it in a safe place. Go ahead and remove the logic board from the case. And on these models, you do have to remove the Wi-Fi card, because there is a logic board screw at the corner. I'm going to show you down here. So at the bottom right corner here, there is a logic board screw hiding there. So you will have to remove the Wi-Fi module to get the board out. So make sure you do that. Gently unhook the right speaker. Unhook the trackpad cable. And the keyboard backlight flex. We'll go ahead and remove the fan screws. We're just removing the two fan screws here and here, because we will keep the fan attached to the logic board for now. And there are 1, 2, and 3 logic board screws on this model. And then after that, we have the DC board cable. The DC board connector here. It's above the fan. These can be a bit tricky to get out, but if you're persistent and careful, should be no problem. Alright, and our board is out. Alright, so what do we do now? Well, we're going to have to look at the Wi-Fi circuit to see. Here's our Wi-Fi connector here. We're going to have to look at the Wi-Fi circuit to see if we have any power rails missing. So we are going to need an extra DC inboard. And if you work on Apple products with any frequency, you will have at least 1 or 2 extra DC boards sitting around. At least you should, because we will need to power this board up to measure some power rails. Now we are going to put the Wi-Fi module back into the board. Just to make sure that the SMC sends the enable signal to the Wi-Fi module, because I'm pretty sure it has to sense the Wi-Fi module in order to send the enable signal to it to turn it on. I do believe all the Wi-Fi stuff is on the back. We do have our DC and thing, our MagSafe, hooked up to our power supply. Let me space it out. Alright. So now I can't show you the schematic, but I can show the board view. So we're going to switch to flex board view here. And we are going to look for the Wi-Fi connector, and here it is. And we got some power rails here, so there's 18, or there's a couple of ground pins that are green, but there's some power rails that we need to measure. These are Bluetooth, hence the BT, so we're not going to worry about that. There's AP, PCIe, Wake L. So there's some PCI data line. Here's some power rails for PCI Express, Wi-Fi Event L, and then PP3v3 WLAN, wireless LAN. So this pin will be the power that powers the Wi-Fi module. And so if I look at the schematic, PP3v3 WLAN, wireless LAN. If I start from pin 1 and I go back, it goes through a capacitor C3521. I'm wondering if I can show you the monitor. Probably. Let's see if I can switch to monitor. Oop. Monitor. So here we have J3501, which is our Wi-Fi connector. Pin 1 goes here through this capacitor here, C3521, to PP3v3 wireless LAN. The voltage is 3.3 volts. And then if you come back here, there's this chip, which is the wireless LAN switch, which turns on our wireless LAN. So this is the power to our Wi-Fi module. And it should be 3.3 volts. And this chip gets, see, that's V out. And this chip gets powered by PP3v3 S5 power rail, and it gets, that's its voltage power rail, and then its other pin, this pin here is SMC Wi-Fi power enable. So it gets a signal from our SMC to turn the Wi-Fi on. So we need both of those to be present in order to get our V out, which is PP3v3 wireless LAN. It's 3.3 volts. So we're going to measure this. We're going to measure the inputs, and we're going to measure the output. So we're going to switch to our, we're going to now switch to our scope cam, which is super blurry. What about flex BV? Yeah, let's go to there. We're going to click on U3550, which is here. And then the power rail we're looking for is PP3v3S5, which is all over the board. But we're going to measure it close to U3550. There's a capacitor apparently right above U3550 right here on the board. We'll go ahead and measure that power rail and see if it's present. And right now we are going to go to scope cam and not see what we're doing. Okay. I apologize for it being so dark. I'm not sure why it's doing that. I need a new LED. Let's see if I can focus. There we go. There. You can see that IC right here. That is U3550. That's our wireless LAN switch. And then there's our capacitor above it that we're going to measure. So we're going to turn our multimeter on and we're going to power up the board and see what we measure. Okay, so the board is powered. And since PB3V3S5, or it's an S5 power rail, so that should be present already. And we are getting 3.3 volts. So we are getting our 3.3 volts. So we are getting our voltage in. Now, are we getting our signal from our Wi-Fi, or from our SMC, excuse me, to turn this chip on? So we're going to go. Now, there's pin 6 on U3550. We can't measure that because it's a BGA chip, so we can't measure under it. But there is a resistor down in another part of the board. It is R1465. I'll switch over to flex board view again. So here we go. So it's R5295, and see, and U3550 is up here. U5295 is down here. So we need to measure that and see if that's present. Now what, pray tell, voltage is that supposed to be? 3.3 volts, I imagine. Well, let's measure and find out, huh? Alright, so we're going to go to scope cam, and then I will move the board down to where that resistor is, or where it's not. It's not populated. Looks like it should be here. If I'm in the correct spot, which I am. Yeah, I'll check the schematic. Yeah, no stuff, so it's not there. But we can still measure. We can still measure on that. So we're going to measure. And we're getting 3.43 volts. So what that tells us, okay, we're going to go back. We're going to go back to our monitor cam. So what that tells me is our SMC is sending out the enable signal. Sorry, I had to adjust my my cord on my headset. It's choking me. Trying to get back to U3550. Alright, so here's U3550. So we're getting our PP3v3S5 voltage in, and we're getting our SMC Wi-Fi power enable signal. What are we getting on the output? We should be getting 3.3 volts on PP3v3 wireless LAN. So that will send 3.3 volts to our wireless LAN and turn the adapter on. So we're going to go to scope cam. I apologize for the transitions. I'm not great at this. And we're going to look on flex board view to see. Can't talk. Okay, so on this big resistor, right there, R5470. We should be getting 3.3 volts out. That is the out to our Wi-Fi module. And what are we getting? We're getting 1.62 volts. That is not 3.3. That is not enough power to turn our wireless LAN on. So, it is safe to assume that our U3550 is not working. You may have noticed before I even started measuring and explaining things, if I zoom in a little, you can see the corner of this glass chip is torn off where the ground pin is. So I'll see if I can zoom in, which I cannot, because for some weird reason my camera is not wanting to work correctly. I'm not happy. I'm not understanding what's going on here. Holy moly. Let's see if I can zoom into that chip. Okay. See if I can, sorry, apologize. Wow, the lighting is horrific. What is going on here? I'm not sure what is happening. Yeah, I'm trying to put some extra light in here. Sorry, I cannot hold this still. I am not a surgeon. You can see that bottom right corner. That chip is broken off. So, it's probably safe to say that is our culprit. That is why our Wi-Fi is not working. And I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why everything is so dark. Yep, I don't know if you can see that or not. But yeah, that chip. Yep, there you go. Bottom right corner of that chip is completely is broken off. So it's probably safe to say this chip is no longer functioning correctly. These things are easily broken and prone to breaking. That probably a better view. Yep, you can see that whole corner's chipped off. So, all right. Before we fix that, we're going to try something real quick. We're going to try to go into another piece of software so we can brighten this up because this looks horrible. I apologize. I'm going to go to overhead real quick and I'm going to deactivate my scope cam. And I'm going to attempt to adjust the lighting. Because that looks horrible. Alright, let's see if that did anything. There we go. So now if I just focus, I'm going to zoom out a little so you can hopefully see. There you go. There's a up close and personal view. The whole corner of that chip is busted off, so you get the point. So what we're going to do is replace that chip. You can see the whole corner of it's right here on my bench. We're going to go ahead and replace that and see if we can't get the Wi-Fi to work. Now this chip is tricky because it's glass. So we're going to turn the heat down a lot. Turn the speed down a lot. We're going to probably have to reball. Actually, I'm going to turn the speed and the heat up a lot right now. See if we can get that off quickly. That dead center. Now the reason why I'm going after this chip, besides the fact that it had a crack in it, or the whole corner was chipped off, was because we measured the two inputs, the voltage in and the enable signal from our SMC, and they were both present. So whenever you have a chip that has got its enable signals and its voltage in, and when you go to look at its output and it's only outputting half of the voltage that it should be, it's pretty safe to assume that that chip is not good. Now I may try to reball one of these and then install it. I'm not sure how well that'll work because these things are very touchy. I may try that first. If that doesn't work, we're just going to put little solder blobs on the pads and put it on that way. Because these chips are very easy to break. So we're going to get a donor board. And I do not have any 820000164 donor logic boards. But we have 13-inch MacBook Air boards that I'm pretty sure use the same Wi-Fi chip. And we have lots of those, so we can afford to mess up a couple times, although we're going to try to get it right on the first go around. This chip is a TPS 22924. So we're going to open up the board view and schematic for an 820000165. We're going to locate the Wi-Fi IC, which ironically enough is called U3550, the same as this little board. And it is in fact the same little chip. So we're going to remove this chip off this board. And actually, I think we have two of them right next to each other. Yep. They are in fact the same. So we're going to look, double check, yep. So we actually have, as you can see, we actually have two. This is the Wi-Fi, and then this one goes to something else. But they are the same chip, so we actually have two that we can pull off each board. So we're going to start off by pulling these. We're going to use a little flux and see if we can get them without damaging them. These things are made out of like glass, so they are extremely fragile. And they're a pain. If you're too rough with them, they will chip. And if they chip, then they are pretty much no good. There's one. There's the second one. Alright, let's try to, what we're going to do is grab our box of solder balls. So where do those spots go? We're going to take some solder balls and see, those look like 0.2 millimeter, but we're going to take some solder balls and see if we can't reball these little guys. Now you can probably buy these chips somewhere, but I want to do this repair video, so I'm not going to spend a bunch of time ordering chips when I've got a bunch of them sitting around on donor boards that I can easily take off. Let's see if I can coax some solder balls out of here. Nope, those are way too small. Those are 0.2 millimeter. I think we need to go to 0.35. We got 0.3, 0.35. Let's try 0.35. See if I can get one out. Yeah, I think 0.35 is real close. I think 0.35 will be good. Yeah, I think 0.35 will work. This is going to be interesting. Like I said, we'll give this a shot, and if we can't do this, we'll just put some solder blobs on the board and try it that way. These little chips are very delicate, so you gotta handle them gently. Where's my solder wick at? Where'd you go? This does take a bit of patience. Oh, I think we grabbed too many. We need 6. Never said I could count. Don't really want to pinch. Alright, now let's not get upset if they fall off. We're going to cut the air down real low. Okay. Looks good. Okay. Got our chip reballed. Now we're going to zoom out a little because I can't see. Alright. Sorry everything is way overexposed and washed out. Can dial the brightness back a little bit. Probably more worried about focus. Is everything focused? Yeah. One of these days I'll get this stuff right. Oh, I should put the lid back on my thing of solder balls before they go flying everywhere. Not be good. We're gonna get a little bit of flux. Turn our air up just a little bit. We're going to double check our pin orientation. Pin 1 is on the bottom left. Oop. Scope cam so you can see what I'm doing. Alright. Alright, we're going to see if we can't get this guy to scoot into place. Don't need a lot of air for this. Just going to kind of get him set into place. See if he wiggles. Maybe turn up a little. Come in slow. This is a tiny chip, so you can see them kind of melting and going into place there. Okay, turn the air up a little bit more. Gotta get this corner here to sit down. There we go. Get him to dance a little bit. Okay, I think that might have been a successful soldering job there. We're going to go off the table here a minute so I can see the other side. Not sure if we can see because the yeah, okay, we're good. We're gonna let him cool for a minute, and then we're gonna brush him with some alcohol and clean him off, and then we'll check our Wi-Fi power module or our Wi-Fi rails again. And since he's glass, we're gonna let him cool off quite a bit. You go putting alcohol on that little glass thing while it's boiling hot, and that thing will crack. And we'll be starting over. Oh, I forgot we got our other little Wi-Fi module here. We still got the broken one here too, don't we? Yeah, probably need to throw that away. Okay. See. Still a little warm. There we go. It's cooled off a little bit. Doesn't really matter. I mean, if it cracks, we'll do it again. But kind of nice to get it on the first try, huh? Now that we don't have the soldering flux there. I wanted to try to keep this adhesive or this glue stuff to keep it there so it kind of helps. What it does is keeps this chip from getting ripped off if the board ever gets pulled out of the chassis. Alright, so that looks nice and clean. Go ahead and give it one more little clean, and then we'll test it and see what's going on. Oh yeah. It's like, what do we do with our other little chip? We actually took two off. this is successful, I'll probably reball that other one off camera and put it away for, next time. I think those 0.35 millimeter solder balls are going to work. Alright. We're going to switch to overhead. We're going to go ahead and put the board... Oh wait, no, we'll measure. Let's measure our power rail first, because then we'll be able to tell if it's putting out 3 volts. Then we'll know that it's fixed. So we can theoretically do this without even having a full computer. If there's no Wi-Fi, we can just check this power rail and if it's present. Alright, let's check our input first. So we're going to go to the cap first. I'm not going to show you the multimeter right now. Well, actually I could. I'll show you the multimeter while I look through the microscope, because then you can actually see if we fixed it or not. Okay, we're going to need to prop the multimeter up because of the glare. Geez, that's not going to help at all. How about a phone? Really? You're going to turn off on me, huh? Alright. Here's our power rail that powers the chip. Probably help if you actually focused in on... Got our power in, and then power out should be 3.3 volts. And look at that. That is now our PP3V3 wireless LAN. So, without even putting the board back into the chassis, I can tell that we fixed our Wi-Fi problem. Or at least why did I unplug those? I don't know. We at least fixed the power rail that was 1.628 volts. It is now 3.3, which is what it should be. So it should power our wireless and Bluetooth module. I say should. I don't want to get too overconfident, but I'm pretty sure it's fixed. So we'll go ahead and put the board back into the chassis. Holy moly. It's amateur hour here. Looking like I've never done this before. Jeez, dude. You never put a MacBook Air together? Alright. There's that. Keyboard backlight. Gotta do our trackpad cable so we can log in. Oops, our speaker. Probably take the board back out after and clean that up just a little bit better. Clean up that flux. And our little Wi-Fi, IC, our power switch. Okay, what am I doing here? Couple logic board screws. Maybe one. We'll just do one. Fan. Do our hard drive, or SSD rather. LCD. Last but not least, our one working wireless antenna. Now, even though we only have one antenna that's got a connector on it, we should still be able to get Wi-Fi. Should not be a problem. And now we need our... What happened to our... Oh. Our DC inflex doesn't belong to that. It's kind of silly because this is a test machine of mine. This is not an actual customer computer. This is just a test chassis for a logic board that I received. Everything plugged back in. Alright, throw a couple screws on the bottom, because I don't want to flip the board over without a bottom on it. Or, sorry, flip the computer over. Alright, let's go ahead and power it on and see what happens. Once again, I'm going to open the screen up all the way so you can see. It's a very slow and, very slow, very low and weak chime. Go ahead and log in. As you can see, we now have working Wi-Fi. There is the list of available Wi-Fi networks. So we have fixed our problem. Oh yeah, this is a happy little board. Look at all those Wi-Fi networks that we found. So our Wi-Fi is now fixed and working. So we fixed our problem. And that is how you troubleshoot and repair no Wi-Fi, no detected hardware. Yeah, no Wi-Fi hardware not available on a 2015 11-inch MacBook Air. This troubleshooting will apply to 13-inch MacBook Airs as well. And yeah, so that's it. I hope you found this video useful. This is Tim with Optimized Logic Repair, wishing you happy repair and have a good night. Thanks for watching.